I thought the doctor was helping me.
He was killing me. I used to believe that doctors had your best interest at heart.
That prescriptions were safe because they came from professionals. That if something was legal and FDA approved, it couldn't destroy your life.
I was wrong.
My name doesn't matter for this story.
What matters is that I'm one of millions of Americans who got addicted to opioids the legal way.
Through a prescription. Through trust. Through a system that valued profit over my life. I lost 7 years to pills that were supposed to help me. I lost my career, my marriage, my dignity, and almost my life.
And the people who got me addicted faced no consequences while I fought every day just to survive.
I grew up in a small town outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Working class neighborhood. Steel town heritage.
The kind of place where everyone knew everyone,
where Friday night football mattered, and where people took pride in hard work.
My dad worked at the mill for 30 years before it closed. My mom was a nurse at the local hospital. We weren't rich, but we had everything we needed.
Stability.
Community. Hope. I was a good kid.
I played football in high school.
Made decent grades.
Had a girlfriend named Michelle who I'd known since middle school. I wasn't headed to the Ivy League, but I had plans.
I wanted to be a paramedic. I wanted to help people.
After graduation in 2003, I enrolled in the EMT training program at the community college.
It felt right. It felt like I was building something.
The accident happened in January 2005. I was 20 years old.
I was working construction part-time to pay for school. Good money.
Hard work.
I didn't mind it. We were framing a house, second story.
I was carrying lumber across the scaffolding when my foot slipped on some ice. I fell 12 feet onto concrete.
I remember the fall.
I remember the impact.
I remember the pain shooting through my back and leg like electricity.
I remember screaming. The doctor said I was lucky.
Compression fracture in my L4 vertebra.
Herniated disc.
Severe muscle damage.
But no paralysis.
No permanent disability, they said.
6 to 8 weeks of recovery. Physical therapy.
I'd be fine.
Before I left the hospital, they handed me 2 prescriptions. One for physical therapy.
One for OxyContin, 80 milligrams.
Twice daily.
30-day supply. I didn't think twice about it.
The doctor prescribed it.
The pharmacist filled it. My insurance covered it. It was medicine. I took the first pill that night. Within an hour, the pain was gone. Not just reduced, gone.
But more than that, everything else was gone too.
The stress about missing work. The worry about medical bills.
The frustration about the accident. All of it just melted away. I felt warm.
Calm. Better than I'd ever felt in my life.
I remember thinking, this is what normal people must feel like. I took them exactly as prescribed for the first 2 weeks.
Twice a day. 40 milligrams in the morning. 40 at night. My back still hurt, but the pills made it manageable. More than manageable.
They made everything manageable.
I started looking forward to them. Not just for the pain, but for the feeling. That warmth. That peace. That escape.
By week 3, the pills weren't
working as well.
I'd take my morning dose and by noon, I'd start feeling anxious.
Uncomfortable. Not quite sick, but off.
I mentioned it to my doctor at the follow-up.
He nodded like he expected it. He said my body was adjusting.
He increased my dose to 100 milligrams twice a day. He wrote another prescription. Another 30-day supply. He said we'd taper down once my back healed. I went back to work after 6 weeks.
Night duty. My back wasn't fully healed, but I needed the money.
The pills helped.
They helped me get through the day. They helped me sleep at night.
They helped me deal with my boss, with traffic, with life.
I didn't realize I was becoming dependent.
I thought I was just managing my recovery. 3 months after the accident, I was still taking OxyContin. My doctor kept refilling it. No questions. No drug tests. No warnings.
Just a 5-minute appointment and another prescription.
Looking back, I realize he never talked about getting off them. He never mentioned addiction. He never explained what opioids actually do to your brain.
He just kept writing prescriptions.
Michelle noticed the change first. She said I was different. Distant. I'd nod off during conversations. I was gaining weight. I wasn't interested in going out anymore. I just wanted to stay home and take my pills and feel that warm, safe feeling. I told her I was still recovering.
She believed me because she trusted doctors too.
By month 6, I was taking more than
prescribed. Not a lot at first. Just an extra half pill here and there when the anxiety got bad. When I started feeling sick between doses, I didn't connect it yet. I didn't realize that the sickness was withdrawal, that my body needed the drug just to feel normal. I thought I was still in pain. I thought I still needed them. I finished my EMT training in late 2005. I got certified. I got hired by a private ambulance company. I was proud. I was doing what I wanted to do.
But I was also taking 6 to 8 OxyContin pills a day.
Way more than prescribed. I started running out early.
I'd call my doctor saying I lost them or they got stolen.
Sometimes he'd refill early. Sometimes he wouldn't.
When he wouldn't, I'd go to urgent care.
I'd tell them I hurt my back again. Different clinic each time.
They'd write a prescription. No questions. By 2006, I was in full addiction.
I didn't call it that yet. I told myself I needed them for my back.
But really, I needed them to function.
To get out of bed.
To go to work.
To not feel like I was dying.
I was spending $300 to $400 a month on pills between prescriptions, urgent care visits, and copays. My entire paycheck. Michelle and I fought constantly about money. I couldn't explain where it was going without admitting what I was doing.
The pills stopped making me feel good. They just made me feel normal.
And when they wore off, I felt terrible.
Sweating, shaking, nausea, muscle aches,
anxiety like I'd never experienced.
panic.
I'd count the hours until my next dose.
I'd count the pills left in my bottle.
I lived in constant fear of running out. In early 2007, my doctor finally cut me off. He said I'd been on them too long. He said I needed to taper down. He gave me a 30-day supply and said it was the last one.
I panicked.
I tried to stretch those pills out, but by day 20, I was out. I went to urgent care. They said no. I went to another clinic.
They said no, my medical records were starting to show a pattern. I was flagged. That's when I learned about the street market.
Another EMT mentioned it casually. He said if you needed pills, you could get them.
Just more expensive.
30 milligram Roxys for $20 each.
80 milligram OxyContin for $60. I was horrified at first. That was illegal. That was drug dealing. That was addiction.
But by day 25, I was sick enough that I didn't care. I bought 10 pills from someone in a Walmart parking lot. I felt like a criminal. I was a criminal, but I needed them.
For the next 3 years, I lived between prescriptions and street pills. When I could get a doctor to prescribe, I would.
When I couldn't, I'd buy them illegally.
I became very good at doctor shopping. I learned which urgent cares were lenient, which emergency rooms would prescribe.
I'd drive 2 hours to a different county just to find a doctor who didn't have my records.
I spent every dollar I made on pills.
Then I started spending money I didn't have.
Credit cards, payday loans.
I pawned my guitar,
my TV, my tools. Michelle left me in 2008.
I don't blame her.
I was a shell of the person she'd fallen in love with.
I'd lie about where I was going.
I'd nod off mid-conversation. I'd stolen money from her purse twice.
She told me to get help. She begged me to stop.
But I couldn't. Not wouldn't couldn't.
I was physically dependent. Going a day without pills meant being violently sick.
Vomiting.
Diarrhea. Shaking so hard I couldn't hold a cup.
Pain everywhere. I needed them just to function. Just to survive.
I lost my EMT job in 2009.
I showed up to a shift high. Really high. My supervisor noticed. They drug tested me.
I failed.
I was fired immediately. My certification was suspended.
7 years of dreaming about being a paramedic. 2 years of training. 3 years of work, all gone. Because of pills a doctor had prescribed me. My parents found out around the same time. My mom knew what opioid addiction looked like. She'd seen it in the hospital. She recognized the signs.
The pinpoint pupils. The nodding off. The weight loss. By then, I'd started losing weight instead of gaining it. The constant sniffling. The lies.
She confronted me. I denied it at first, but she didn't believe me. My dad just looked disappointed, ashamed, like I betrayed everything he taught me about being a man, about working hard, about doing the right thing. They staged an intervention. My parents, my sister, my aunt. They wanted me to go to rehab. They'd researched facilities. They'd called our insurance. They said they'd help me.
But I wasn't ready.
I couldn't imagine life without pills. The thought of being sober terrified me more than the thought of dying. I told them I'd quit on my own.
I promised I'd get clean.
I meant it when I said it.
But within 6 hours,
I was buying more pills.
By 2010, the pills were getting harder to find. Pharmacies were cracking down.
Doctors were getting arrested. The DEA was investigating pill mills. The supply was shrinking, but the demand wasn't. Prices skyrocketed. Pills that cost $20 now cost $40.
Then $50.
I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's when someone introduced me to heroin. They said it was the same thing. Cheaper. Easier to get.
$10 for a pack that would last all day.
I said no at first. Heroin was different. Heroin was hardcore.
Heroin was for junkies. But I was a junkie. I just hadn't admitted it yet. I used heroin for the first time in a gas station bathroom. I smoked it a foil.
I told myself I'd never inject.
That was the line I wouldn't cross.
Within 3 months, I was injecting. It was more efficient, made it last longer, got me higher.
I stopped caring about lines.
I stopped caring about anything except not being sick. The next 2 years are blurry. I was homeless for stretches, couch surfing, sleeping in my car when I still had a car.
I lost that too. Repossessed when I stopped making payments.
I shoplifted to eat. I stole from family. I traded everything I owned for drugs. I overdosed twice. Once in a friend's apartment. Once in a McDonald's bathroom. Both times, someone gave me Narcan. Both times, I was angry when I woke up.
Angry that they brought me back. Angry that I'd wasted the heroin in my system.
My MO never gave up on me. Even when I stole from her. Even when I lied to her face. Even when I disappeared for weeks.
She'd call.
She'd leave voicemails.
She'd tell me she loved me.
She'd tell me there was a bed at rehab whenever I was ready.
I wasn't ready.
Not in 2010. Not in 2011. Not in 2012. I got arrested in March 2012.
Possession with intent to distribute. I wasn't a dealer, but I had enough heroin on me that they charged me anyway.
I sat in county jail going through withdrawal. It was hell.
4 days of vomiting, sweating, shaking, cramping.
I wanted to die. The guards didn't care.
They'd seen it 1,000 times.
I was just another junkie.
Just another number.
My public defender got me into drug court instead of prison.
18-month program.
Mandatory rehab. Random drug tests. Weekly court appearances. If I completed it, my charges would be dismissed. If I failed, I'd go to prison for 5 years.
It was my last chance, and I knew it.
Rehab was 90 days inpatient.
Detox. Therapy.
Group sessions.
I heard stories from other people just like me.
Teachers.
Nurses.
Veterans. Mechanics. Construction workers.
All of us had started the same way. A prescription. A doctor we trusted. Pills that were supposed to help. We weren't bad people.
We were sick people who'd been handed poison and told it was medicine.
I learned about Purdue Pharma.
The Sackler family.
How they'd known OxyContin was addictive. How they'd lied to doctors. How they'd pushed aggressive
marketing. How they made billions while people like me lost everything.
I learned that my doctor had been paid by pharmaceutical companies to prescribe opioids. That he'd been incentivized to get patients hooked. I felt betrayed.
Angry. Used.
Getting clean was the hardest thing I've ever done.
The physical withdrawal was bad, but the mental part was worse.
Learning to live without that escape. Learning to feel pain, boredom, stress, anxiety without numbing it. Learning to be human again. I relapsed twice during drug court. Both times, they gave me another chance instead of sending me to prison. The third time would have been it. But there wasn't a third time. I completed drug court in September 2013. 8 years after that first prescription.
My charges were dismissed. My record was cleared. But my life was still in pieces.
No job, no car,
no apartment,
no money.
I was 30 years old and living with my parents like I was 15. I got a job washing dishes at a diner. Minimum wage. Night shift. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. I showed up every day. I worked hard. 6 months later, they promoted me to cook.
A year after that, I was managing the kitchen.
It wasn't being a paramedic, but it was something. It was proof I could be reliable again.
I've been clean for over 11 years now.
I still go to meetings. I still see a therapist. I still think about pills sometimes, especially when life gets hard. The cravings don't ever fully go away.
Addiction doesn't work like that, but I have tools now.
I have support.
I have reasons to stay clean.
Michelle moved on. She's married now.
Has kids.
I'm happy for her.
My parents and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. There's still pain there, still memories of what I put them through. But there's also forgiveness.
My dad told me he's proud of me. That meant everything.
I eventually met someone new.
Her name is Amy.
She's in recovery too.
She understands. We got married in 2018.
We have a small apartment.
2 cats. Simple life. Quiet life. The life I almost threw away for pills. What makes me angry is how preventable all of this was. The Sackler family made over $10 billion from OxyContin.
Purdue Pharma knew it was addictive as early as 1996. They knew people were dying.
They didn't care.
They just wanted profit.
They created an epidemic. They destroyed millions of lives.
And when they finally got caught, they declared bankruptcy and worked out a deal
where they pay $6 billion over 9 years and face no criminal charges. No jail time. Not one member of the Sackler family went to prison.
Meanwhile, I was almost sent to prison for being addicted to the drug they got me hooked on. I was criminalized for being their victim.
That's what makes me angriest. The people who caused the opioid crisis got to keep their billions and their freedom.
The people who suffered got criminal records, broken families, and graves.
Over 500,000 Americans
Have died from opioid overdoses since 1999.
That's more than World War II. That's more than car accidents over the same period.
That's a generation of people lost to pills and heroin and fentanyl.
And it all traces back to one company that lied about how safe their drug was. I think about the doctor who first prescribed me OxyContin. He retired in 2014, lives in Florida now, plays golf, enjoys his pension. He faced no consequences. He prescribed opioids to hundreds of patients.
How many of them got addicted? How many of them are dead?
He'll never know, and he'll never care. I think about the pharmacists who filled prescription after prescription without question.
The insurance companies that covered it all.
The FDA that approved it despite red flags. The politicians who took money from Purdue Pharma and looked the other way. The entire system failed.
And people like me paid the price.
Sometimes people ask me if I blame myself. The answer is complicated.
Yes, I made
choices. I took more than prescribed. I bought pills illegally.
I used heroin.
Those were my choices. But I also trusted a doctor who was supposed to help me. I took a medication that was prescribed to me illegally. I was 20 years old with a back injury. I didn't know I was walking into a trap. By the time I realized what was happening, I was already addicted. My brain had already been hijacked.
Opioids rewire your brain.
They change how you feel pain, pleasure, motivation. They make you need them just to feel normal. That's not a moral failing. That's biology. What I learned is this. Addiction doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor, educated or not, good person or bad. It doesn't care about your intentions or your values. All it needs is opportunity. And the pharmaceutical industry gave millions of Americans that opportunity by lying about their product.
I also learned that recovery is possible. It's hard.
It's painful.
It requires support and honesty and daily work.
But it's possible. I am living proof.
Thousands of people in recovery are living proof.
We're not statistics. We're not junkies. We're human beings who got trapped in a system designed to exploit us. The opioid epidemic isn't over. Fentanyl has made it deadlier than ever. People are dying from pills laced with fentanyl that they don't even know is there. The crisis has evolved, but the root cause is the same. A medical system that prioritizes profit over patients, and a society that stigmatizes addiction instead of treating it. If you're struggling with opioids, please know this. It's not your fault that you're addicted, but it is your responsibility to get help. You're not weak. You're not broken.
You're sick, and there is treatment.
Reach out. Call a helpline.
Tell someone you trust.
Go to a meeting.
Check into rehab.
It will be the hardest thing you ever do, but I promise you it's worth it. Life on the other side is possible. If you know someone who's addicted, don't give up on them.
My MOM never gave up on me, even when I'd given up on myself.
That's what saved me.
Love doesn't cure addiction, but it gives people a reason to try. I thought the doctor was helping me.
He was killing me. Not intentionally maybe, but the result was the same.
I trusted a system that betrayed me.
I followed the rules and still lost everything. It took me 8 years to claw my way back to something resembling a normal life. 8 years of suffering. That could have been prevented if someone had just told the truth about what those pills really were.
I'm 39 years old now.
I work as a supervisor at a restaurant. I have a wife I love. I have a life worth living.
But I also have scars, physical and mental.
I have years I'll never get back.
I have relationships that can't be fully repaired.
I have a criminal record that makes certain jobs impossible.
I carry the weight of what I did to people I love. That weight never fully goes away. But I'm alive.
I'm clean.
I'm grateful.
Not grateful for the addiction. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But grateful that I survived it. Grateful that I got a second chance when so many didn't.
The opioid crisis is America's shame.
It's a story of corporate greed, regulatory failure, and the betrayal of trust.
It's also a story of millions of people who were prescribed poison and told it was medicine.
People like me.
I thought the doctor was helping me.
He was killing me. And the people who knew what those pills would do got rich while I fought for my life. That's the truth.
That's my story. That's America's story.
Now I live carefully.
I trust wisely. And I work every single day to stay alive. If this story resonated with you, hit the like button and drop a comment below. Subscribe for more real stories like this one.
And if you're struggling right now, please reach out for help.
Recovery is possible.
Thank you for watching.